Good morning, vagabonds. I'm Don Quixote. This is Vagabondage. Today's assignment will be fish hatchery campground. It's about 9.6. But our highlight of the day will be the massive climb up Whitewater Creek to the Whitewater Falls viewing platform. And then I'll be retrieving my last 3 days worth of food at chained to a tree there at the trailhead parking. So that's the adventure, and then from there it's like 6 more miles to fish hatchery, and that's all I have planned for the day. No meetings, no emails, just walking. Maybe a sunrise if we're lucky. Definitely a sunrise. It's not like it's not going to come up. Geez, knock on wood, right? So before the sunrise, we get to be treated to the treetops at the higher elevations, getting the sunrise first. What is that, a sunrise mudita? It's me experiencing joy in what the others are experiencing. And this is our view right now. Sun's right around the corner. And that's your Dharma lesson for the day. Sunrise mudita. And I'm making another cup of coffee while my oatmeal is getting cold. They added these extra bridges. They weren't here last time. You had to jump over. Or climb down and then jump over. As you can hear, I'm leaving the heavily trafficked Whitewater Falls overlook area. For me, that was a massive stair climb up out of Whitewater River up to the falls platform. I didn't take the trail around. I actually hiked the rest of the way out because I wanted to use the bathrooms and trash cans. There are bathrooms and trash cans here, and refill water from the bathroom sink. Looks like there used to be a spigot on the outside, but it's capped off. So I've got 6 more miles to do today, and it's like just after noon, maybe more like 12:30 last time I checked. Gorgeous day. It's also Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving. I didn't film any of that. Haven't been filming at all, have I? I didn't videotape any of that. Not even videotape. What's the medium we're using? I didn't record any of that because there were lots of people around. The entire climb up from the river was families out on their Thanksgiving morning hike and things like that. A lot of tourists out today. So Don't blame him. It's a gorgeous day and a day off. There's a view from up here. That's Jocassee and Bad Creek Reservoir, I believe. I've got a former client has a house right there. Maybe, maybe not. We're at Girl Scout Benches 2 and just plugging along. This part is climbing, but fairly easy grade as far as climbing goes. There's no leaves on the trees, so it's sunlight and beautiful, and we're at high altitude compared to earlier. So it's very nice. Hiking on. So I just crossed the road back there, and at the parking, trailhead parking, there was a van from University of South Florida and about 14 or 16, I don't know how they all fit in the van with their gear, but what looked like college students getting ready to go backpacking because they all had the gear. To me, it looked like they were starting out, which means, did they drive here from University? Yeah, where's that? Fort Lauderdale or somewhere, and arrived at 3. So there's like, it's 3:30 when I went through there. There's like 2 hours of daylight left. I'm glad I'm ahead of them because the campsite I'm headed to is the first one. I should be arriving at Fish Hatchery Campground in about 20 minutes. Oh, look at that. Boy, that was a stumble, not a fall. There's a stump sticking out right in the middle of the trail that I hit because it's all dry leaves. I thought I caught myself, and then my backpack threw me forward. I caught myself on a tree, but my phone went flying. So that'll be a fun video to watch later. All right, enough of that. So, just pulled into Fish Hatchery Campground. As advertised, there's a giant dead tree right in the center of the campground. I'm picking a site over there where it's leaning away from. I used the level on my phone to make sure it's leaning that way. It's pretty sturdy, and we're not expecting high winds tonight, but this forest is at least 1/3 dead trees, it seems like, if I'm looking around. I'm gonna go ahead and set up my tarp, then go for water. That's just to claim my trees in case other campers show up. There's not a lot of space here, and it's all kind of not flat, so it'll be interesting if more people show up. But, you know, you could pop a couple of tents here. It's secluded and surrounded by a thicket of rhododendron, but it'll be adequate. Yeah, so anyway, my wish came true, and the group of 14 college students showed up at my campsite, and about 30 minutes after I got there, so I'd already chosen my spot and was in the middle of setting up, and they showed up at 4:30, which we all realized that's about 45 minutes before sunset, and the next like real campsite is at least 3 miles away or something. So they weren't about to be hiking into the dark. So they set up on my campsite. Yeah, they were really nice about it. They checked with me and said they would be quiet and all that, and set up as far away from me as they could, which means they had 5 tents for 15 people just piled on top of each other at the far end of the little patch of clearing. But it was fine. So here's another little thing since that trip and fall yesterday, is I'm going to see if I'm able to bring myself to keep my glasses on, to wear my glasses during hiking. For years I've been taking my glasses off for hiking just because having the frames in my peripheral vision was kind of annoying, and I could see well enough. Well, I don't think that's the case anymore. Everything's so much more crystal clear instead of, they were only slightly blurry without them, but not as crystal clear as with them. And I intend to get new glasses anyway, because these are kind of scratched up a little bit before the AT. Keep these as a backup, but to keep the glasses on while actually hiking and not just pulling them off when I need to read my screen or a map or whatever, because that itself is getting kind of annoying. So that's a new thing for me, starting yesterday at 3:45 when I almost bit the trail. So I just bumped into 2 AT thru hikers, class of 22, Trash Man and Mother Duck. So that was awesome. We were just gonna pass each other and say good morning until I saw her AT thru hiker tag on her backpack, the magenta pink 22 one, and said, "Oh, hey, AT thru hikers." And so we stopped and chatted for a while, and that was awesome. It does me good. The community aspect of the AT family is a big part of what draws me to want to hike it. I don't know why I reacted by turning off the video when I get emotional. You've probably heard my voice crack a couple of times when I'm waxing about something. Anyway, yeah, that was great. So I'm taking a break, and I should drink some vitamins or something. Oh man, that makes my beard look white. Hello, sun. Hey, so this is what I've been able to accomplish by noon. It's about 3 minutes till noon, and I've gone 6.9 miles. And that includes a privy stop, a couple other forms of breaks, a water stop, a sit-down break. Thames Field 4.6, so rounding up to 5, that's 2.5 hours of walking. Really more like, yeah, so somewhere in there. So 3 hours from now, I should be camped by 3, unless I stop for lunch, and then add. That's the math. It's always running in my head. There was some kind of wildfire that blew through here not too long ago. There's evidence of it everywhere. This part of the trail is just along the edge of the Chattooga River, just south of Burrell's Ford. And like here's a spot where a very large tree has fallen across the trail. The actual trail is down there, and the new trail is up around the root ball. But everything's charred, and some trail maintenance has been through here since the fire. But not a lot of leaves have fallen on the ground since the fire, so I don't know how recent it was. But it's amazing how a lot of the healthy trees looks like they just shrugged it off as if it didn't even happen. But all of the kind of the dead trees and undergrowth have been done away with. There's like not much but exposed dirt here and charred stumps of former dead trees, and then here and there a large, probably dead tree has collapsed, and now I've got to navigate my way around to this root ball. Hey, it's a little noli plant on a leaf. I wonder what medieval town that is. Well, I've arrived at today's destination, which is Sims Field campsite. Coming westbound, you don't get to the sign for it until the very last spot, and it's the only one with a sign. You pass about 5 or 6 other ones up the trail, and if you're not looking at your far out or whatever you're using, you will never know they're there, because they're on a spur trail that splits off the main trail, and they're pretty deep through a thicket down by the river, and they're pretty rough. They haven't really been cleared and prepped like a lot of the campsites here. So this one's the nicest one. It's the last one you come to going west. The first one you come to going east, and they have a sign. The sign that says Sims Field is missing, but the other 2 signs. That was the case last night at Fish Hatchery too. The Fish Hatchery sign was missing, but all the other like directional signs below them were still on the post. So I don't know who's going through and stealing, probably for souvenirs, because they're nice wooden, hand carved, like Boy Scout with a router and a jar of epoxy polyurethane signs. So people are probably stealing them for souvenirs to commemorate their stay, I'll bet. So the last 2 campsites have been missing their signs. Shame on them. I need to figure out where to get water. It looks like it's a point-something mile hike down this way to a dribble, or a twice that distance the other way to a stream. So I'll go check out the dribble first, and maybe it's a lucky dribble. But I need to set up. I need to hang a bear bag. I don't want to walk that far from my backpack without my food in a tree. See, this is obviously the master plan for like one of those Russian linear cities, Soviet era, that's planned along the industrial corridor, and then there's like a little village off to the side. The alternative explanation is that this is no, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, like a Soviet linear city, and that's probably the nuclear power plant, the little cluster. off to the side, and then that lake on the left is like a toxic waste dump. So that was a side trail, but if we're not taking side trails for waterfalls and overlooks, then why are we even here? Unless they're really long and strenuous side trails, in which case I understand. In fact, I skipped over one yesterday that it had a staircase because I'm done with staircases. And I've seen that particular waterfall before, so I guess I can't share it with you, but which way did I come? Here we are. Oh god, my bed beard is the worst. Look at that. It's like I'm blowing in the wind. Birth of Venus style. So here we are at Lick Log Campsite. Apparently it is very trendy to steal these signs because they were handmade by Boy Scouts and they look really cool. Hanging on the wall of your douche cave to commemorate that fishing trip that time with the guys. I guess that's my most likely scenario because leave no trace type people don't go tearing down signs made by Boy Scouts to point the way. What's this? We are oh hey, and nothing against fishermen. It was the douche that took the sign. Of course that fish never did anything to you, but all right, we are on the Foothills Trail, Coney State Park, 8.3, that's where I'm headed. So having just made that declaration a few minutes ago about side trails to waterfalls and the meaning of life and all that, I'm decided to skip Lick Log Falls because it's 0.2 down and 0.2 back up. And, you know, the bungee cord of home is tugging at me. And that hot shower and that maybe even a home-cooked meal. It's day 7. It's been a rough, fulfilling but rough hike. And I've got like a 3-hour drive. So I'm going to skip this. And I'll owe the trail guides one additional side trail to a view or a falls on my next hike. How about that? Every time I find myself walking on a prepared drivable surface like this, I worry that I missed a turn somewhere and have to double check the map. So I'm actually on the Foothills Trail and it splits right here at this bend. All right, this is it. The end of the Foothills Trail. All right, finishing out the Foothills Trail. 7 full days. Sunday was technically a short day on miles, the short day on miles. But that was that. I'll have to process some and maybe give a after action report or something like that. But now it's time to drive back to Whitewater and get my food box and head home.